better. That
Oh.
is better.
No feedback?
Nope. I wonder
Okay.
what that was. Good, and I've got good
I'm
volume.
getting an echo.
You're getting feedback now?
That's okay. I'm getting some from my end on me,
Okay.
but if you don't hear it, I can live with it. Or I could try one more time.
We'll try it one more time. Because that's really
All
hard to
right.
do. That feedback is very hard to
Okay, here I go.
Okay. Okay, we're still live here. I'm waiting for her to go out and come back in. But at least we got on. That is, I just think it's miraculous when we do that. Okay, I'm going to add. Slow this time.
How are we doing?
How are you doing? I'm doing fine.
I have the feedback thing.
You still have the feedback? Oh. Well, but you wonder what the audience is hearing. Are they hearing what you're hearing? That's true. Now, just then, I saw you
No.
several seconds before I heard your voice. I don't know. It's sort of like the connection between your house and my house is bad, but we don't have that when we just.
No. Okay. What I could do upstairs and try it one more time and connect where it's probably a better connect.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll wait for you, honey.
Let's try it again.
Okay. She knows how to get off. I don't know how to get off, so I couldn't do what she's doing. She knows how to get off.
Maybe can be because she had the computer, the phone, and the same.
Well, she's moving right now. She's going to go upstairs.
Is one coming out?
Yeah, she's going to go upstairs and see if that helps. But I hate to have you leave until we get this situated. Okay, I'm adding. Okay.
Okay, I'm
All
outside.
Right. You're outside. It's not raining?
I'm outside. I don't hear feedback. Do you?
Nope, I don't hear it.
Okay.
So maybe it has something to do with having the phone and your computer close together?
No, I think it's just the basement is my good place, but it may not be good for connection.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm going to go back downstairs and see if we still have a good connection.
Okay.
Okay. We're good.
Well, I won't know
until we're good to go.
I won't know till we start talking. So say something.
Yeah. Well, we're getting in the chat. Hi, it's Peter. Hello. Said hi. Peter said hi. So we have people in the chat.
Can you see the chat? I can't see the chat. I can. Well, it wouldn't do me any to see it anyway because I wouldn't be able to read it and do this too.
That's okay. We have some people watching. So Mary Lou, we are on and we got it connected.
All right. So, well, let's go over the basics. The basics is that Meredith and I collaborated on the Book of Nakalah, which is a novel, which is of course fiction, about the millennial reign. And we are getting ready. That is volume 1, and we're getting ready. We're right on the cusp of sending volume 2 to the publisher. Sometime in the next 48 hours, you will have it. Okay. And we don't think it's going to be as long as it was the first time because we're getting coordinated, working together with this publisher. We
Oh,
got
it's
it.
okay.
Yep,
Okay.
we got it, honey. Thank you for helping. Except we
Yeah.
pretty much did it ourselves, Meredith. But anyway, I like to have him handy just in case because he knows things I don't know. So
Absolutely.
anyway, we're just gonna talk a little bit about the book. We mostly
We-
want to talk about the outer darkness, right?
Yeah,
Was that
I
the
this
topic?
systems. Yes, we were wanting to talk about the outer darkness. Now we did get on with Noel and talk quite a bit about it, but I think we should focus on the systems around us and how that is the architect of the outer darkness. Is the systems
Okay.
that we live in that we perceive as normal and foundational, but are actually not foundational at all to Christ.
So this is our reality, which
Our
during the
reality.
millennial reign, there was two simultaneous realities. One of them is that in the cities, Christ was ruling with the resurrected saints, and the cities were,
Yeah.
pure, not perfect, but pure. And the outer darkness is where you went to sin. So you couldn't go back and forth too much. If you
No.
wanted to sin and you didn't want to follow the rules and you didn't want to pledge allegiance to the government, which was Jesus Christ, if you didn't want to do that, then goodbye, you went to the outer darkness.
Yeah, you go sin out there. And the foundations of what we're living today are the systems that were out there.
Yes. Yes.
And then they brought those systems into, once they took over, to make the whole realm work like their systems.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
so that's
Well, because that
that's
was
what-
when Satan was released at the end of the millennial reign. The people that were in the outer darkness overwhelmed the cities. They went over the walls, through the gates, and basically destroyed. And we could see this destruction today. There was a lot of destruction when Satan got loosed.
Yeah.
Not only caused by him, but just the people overran the city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter
But,
of time. until the whole
yeah.
world was scorched. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think one of the first things they instituted were the institutions. So they had to get control, complete control over all the peoples. And the peoples that were already out there would be familiar with their systems because they already had their systems in place. They just, it was like
But they
a,
did make,
like-
they
like
did
a
make
start
them more
clock.
sophisticated. Didn't they make them more sophisticated? As time went
Wait,
on, they got more organized. They didn't have their leader, Satan. They didn't
No.
have him. It was changed. Okay. So they
Yeah.
didn't have him, but they still had the innate evil that lives within each of us and demons.
yeah,
So there was still
yeah.
evil.
And demons? Absolutely.
but they
So
just weren't-
when Satan was released, I believe that he gathered the assemblance of that system and basically took charge and said, okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to monopolize on humanity's greed because, as you know, our systems today work on greed. Money moves. Money moves everything. And so all the systems that they had already in place, they magnified those systems, those institutions.
Well, and I would also say lust for sin. Okay, that let's see who can sin the best. So
Right.
there is a certain satisfaction, and we all know that because we're sinners. Okay, there's a certain satisfaction from sinning, and
Yeah.
that can be sophisticated or it can be crude. I mean, a person that's not used to sinning is not going to be a very good liar, and they're not going to be very good. but
Yeah.
it's pretty sophisticated today. You know,
Yeah.
people get away with
But-
stuff. I mean, people get away with murder, but not
Yeah, and
really. But
Right. The process of that
Yeah.
sophistication is how did we get from that to now? And I believe that was done incrementally by not number one, the greed, there's the greed, but there's also the fear to not have. And I believe the good people were motivated. They didn't have food, they took away the food of the people, take away the means of survival, and then you offer it back to them with conditions. And that's
Yes.
exactly what we see is an offering back of sustenance with conditions. You're part of our systems. These are our rules. Sign up for our benevolent programs, and we will provide for you, and we will
Yes.
take care of your children. Give us your children. We'll place them with homes so they can live and survive. Come with us and we will take care of you. And it was done under the guise of benevolence because that's
Oh, it
what
took-
Satan Hasatan does.
it took a while for that to happen. And
Of
so when we
course.
look, we all have some kind of an idea or maybe an opinion about when Satan was loosed. I mean, some people say it was in the 1500s, 1600s. Some people say 1700s, and some people say 1800s. Okay, but it took a while for that to get organized. Okay,
Yes.
because we still had people that were saying, but wait a minute, I remember drinking the living water and living through the millennium. I remember doing that. I remember how wonderful it was when Christ was honored as our leader. Now look at it, it's a big mess. Those people are going into asylum. So if they heard that, well, it's pretty rough out here, maybe I'll go to an asylum, they might have gone in there voluntarily.
They
It's just the
could
way
have, because it could be that they were starving because we know there was catastrophe. We know there was a mud flood event. There was destruction, and people no longer had the means to survive on their own, and so they had to
Yes.
depend on these systems, these benevolent systems, to survive. Because you ask
Yes.
yourself, what could allow a mother to give up custody of her children if she thought they were going to die, if she had no other choice? That's otherwise, a mom does not give up her children unless she thinks that the only way for them to survive and for them to thrive is to give them up.
Exactly.
And so all of the famines, all of the wars, all of the destructions that we have within our histories are indeed the histories. It's just they were arranged, they were planned to get people in a place of desperation to institute these systems.
And it seems to me that as time has gone on, people have gotten more and more desperate. Are people more desperate today than they were 100 years ago? I say yes. Were people 100 years ago more desperate than they were the 100 years before that? Pretty much. I mean, unless, you found your savior, which the government is going to take care of me,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, then maybe I can breathe a sigh of relief. But it really isn't because they've got us in these little boxes. And none of us can escape. We're just trapped in it.
Yeah, I'm kind of hearing you in a can a little bit, but I'm trying to make out what you're saying. As far as if we are more destitute today or back then,
I said
I think it was
desperate.
yeah, they were very desperate back then. I'm not. I think increases have been extreme with almost no increase in pay, which is making things pretty tight again. But the systems are already in place. It's not like a new thing. It's people don't even question the systems around us because they've always been here as far as we are concerned. I mean, I think they think it's a different, we don't know anything other than having them. And the expectation
Well,
that
I
these
mean,
institutions,
they try to convince us that we're free.
yeah,
Now,
they tried to.
when I was a child, out on the farm, I was in the Midwest on a farm as a child. I suppose I was sheltered. I was definitely sheltered from. I had no hunger. Okay, I had a good school to go to. I really didn't seem desperate unless you call it emotional. You know, there was a lot of people around me that were desperate, emotionally desperate. You know, but I didn't
Yeah.
see that financial thing. And people
Yeah.
out there in the country are more likely to help poor families.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had a milk cow and we sold milk to a poor family for 50 cents
Yeah.
a day, which was a pretty good deal. And we delivered it because we didn't have a car. And they had a bunch of kids. So, you know, I mean, there were neighbors helping neighbors back then.
Yeah.
Now in the city,
Yeah, the community was definitely much tighter. And I think the ability to survive with your community was greater in that way. I have recently come across some information. My mother and father-in-law came to visit, and my mother-in-law brought more of her genealogy for me to read. So I've been kind of going through it. Some interesting information, which, you know, we're told 1920s and in the 1930s, you know, with the Depression was this, you know, desperate time. But let me tell you, I'm looking through some of these, like the information that she's got, and it has in there how much, you know, so and so made and how much their house was valued at. And consistently, for instance, the home was worth $2,500. Get that in your mind. And the father, the head of the home, you know, doing work, well, you know, just grunt work, factory work, is making 1,900 a year. Now think about that for a minute. The worker in a desperate time in the 30s is making 80% of the value of his home.
Mhm.
That would be like having a house that's worth $250,000 today. And working as a grunt factory worker, you're making $200,000 a year.
That's not happening.
You
That's
tell
not-
me anybody who's a grunt factory worker making
Well, I mean-
$200,000 a year.
That's true. That's true. So,
So
let's
it's,
just,
it,
I
it,
think, in my opinion, from what I've seen in my 75 years, is that people are more desperate today. And especially those of us that have had a little taste of freedom because we figured out a way around the world. Okay? You can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
With the technology we
Yeah.
have today. Well, if you commit any kind of an infraction, okay, you're on camera. So there's
yeah, you can't just
you
go
know,
to the next state and be fine. You can't escape it.
no,
And
no,
and they did
you know
that
that if you-
incrementally.
You know that if you move to the next stage, it's just a matter of time for that stage to change position.
Yeah.
They do it right now. It used to be, I mean, you could leave the United States and go to another country. I knew
Yeah,
people
you can
that
do that.
in the 80s were down when they had a home down in Mexico and they had a maid, a full-time maid, and lived in Mexico except for 6 months a year, and they came up here and took care of their own property, and they each worked a casino job, which was a big, you know, a lot of money. So, and they earned that money, and then they took that money back to Mexico and lived like it. And you can't do that today. No,
Yeah.
it's impossible to go to another country and take the wealth that we've got here into another country and live like a king. You can't do it anymore. It's those days are gone.
Yeah, and but through brainwashing, they keep the people believing that we live in a prosperous time somehow, or that, you know, you get the mantra, you know, oh, everything's
Well,
looking up.
This is the American dream in the United States, and if you go to South
Yes.
American countries, you better watch out. You don't get abducted because they think that they can demand an exorbitant amount of money from your relatives if you're in the United
Yeah.
States. My relatives wouldn't have that kind of money to pay for me if I got
Yeah.
that kind of money. You know, but they,
And the
in their
only,
minds, you know,
yeah.
we're rich here. Everybody here is rich. You know?
Yeah, we think we are rich, but we're really not, and we're not any better off than really most other countries of the world. I mean, it's a propaganda and an informational war, and if as long as they keep the people thinking that we're good, you know, keep the dream, you're doing well, then there's no uprising, and that's what they bank on is no uprising. Keep the people thinking they're free to move about, they're doing well, they're living the good
Well,
life.
there's other ways to take that travel freedom away from you. One of them is to raise the school prices. You know, I mean, there's other ways to keep people in place besides a government mandate saying it's a lockdown. No, maybe there is no lockdown. How are you going to get from point A to point B with no gas? So
Yeah, keep the star, and you got to have the star. Then take a plane. You have to, you know, have. I mean, all the documents you need just to like. It's ridiculous. All the documents you need to like
I've seen this in the
update.
last 25 years just escalate. Absolutely escalate.
Yeah.
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 It's just
And the other thing that they don't talk about, there's an uptick in missing persons. Just this week, Mary Lou, I am still part of Rockford, the Facebook page. I didn't get a chance to tell you this. But in Rockford, a lot of people are talking on the Facebook page back and forth. You know, there's an increase in uptick of missing persons. What is going on? Did you see that this and this? The locals are noticing that there is more people going missing. Now,
okay, now
me and you have talked.
people, are they of a certain age or a certain group or a certain? Are they children?
Young peoples like
Adults?
teenagers
Okay.
and young adults. And I don't know if I know you don't do Facebook, but
No, I don't.
and you still live in Rockford, so I'm just letting you know there is an uptick.
Well,
people
I mean,
are
I can
talking
see,
about it.
I can see crap going on in my neighborhood that didn't used to be, you know,
Yeah.
as it is now. But okay, so we've agreed right now today. We don't even need to talk about it. And I'm sure that everybody would agree with that. It's pretty crappy. It's pretty crappy right now. So we're living in the outer darkness. Do we have any of the kingdom left?
The kingdom is the spirit. So of course the kingdom of Jesus Christ is within all of his faithful. So
Okay.
that is what we hang on to, and that is what we live and breathe. And when we realize certain systems and certain things, we just do our best to, live according to the word, to Jesus, and what he tells us to do as best we can and as best as we know how until.
And that is where our hope is. I mean,
Yes.
I don't hope to become a millionaire or to get rich. I don't care about that anymore.
Yeah.
Do I care about whether or not I eat? Yeah, pretty much. Would I share with other people? If it came to that, I would. Because my life is just,
Yeah.
I'm not very good at conduct here, so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how
okay.
how we treat one
So
another.
how does that relate to the book of Matthew? What are we trying to get across to people?
We're trying to expose the lies of what we live physically on a daily level, on a daily basis. We live the lies of the systems, the lies of the institutions. Our train of thought and thinking needs to be reset to Yahuwah's way of thinking, to Christ's way of thinking.
So
We
in the
cannot.
book, in the book, okay, we've got two parallel worlds. We've got the outer darkness, and we've got the
Yes.
kingdom, and we've still
Yes.
got that.
Yes, we do. Because it's within the way you think, breathe, and live. And that is the kingdom of Jesus Christ, to get back to that,
But
way of thinking.
if
And
you
so,
are stuck in the if you're stuck in the material world, it's hard to imagine.
yeah,
And I
it's the
think
mix.
that we're asking people to read this book and imagine what it might have been like. And of
Yes.
course, I'm going to be envious because if you chose to, follow the rules and give your allegiance to the government, which was Jesus Christ, you could stay there and you could drink a living water and be healthy and have a family and
Yes.
have some happiness.
Yeah,
Right?
there's no lack within the kingdom, and we paint a picture within the book that shows family. It's all family focused. If the family is growing and they need more land to work and more space, then the councils come and they work out, okay, this parcel of land over here, you have the manpower to farm it and take care of it. This is yours. Which parcels do you like? Here, choose this one, or this one. And you are given a piece of property. You are given a home, a place to live. Now, it's not inextravagant. I mean, you're recommended. Don't bring a lot with you. You only need what you need. You only need what you need.
So in other words,
to
people
live,
left
right?
their furniture. People left their furniture and stuff in their old house. They
There's
moved on.
no need of greed. There's no need of greed. If you move from place to place, you bring those bare, few things. You can bring a memorability, but it's not bring every piece of furniture you own to the new place, because then that's
Exactly.
provided for you. It's providing an atmosphere of lack of greed, not greed, because you're not in need, but you're also not to hoard.
Right.
So
Right.
you're in a place of
Well, in other words, money was there money?
money. Whether there was money or not, it wouldn't matter in the Greek territory, because you don't have need of anything. It would just be a
Right.
tool. It would just be a tool of trade. Most of the time, I think they were just trading a lot of goods, bartering. I have this.
Well, if
Oh,
you gave it, and if you needed it, someone gave it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
But
like-
But according to the scriptures, usury would not be allowed. Usury being borrowing money and paying back with interest. That was
Well, if you wanted
something.
to do that, what would you do? You
What,
wanted
to
to be a
borrow
banker.
money?
Huh?
How would you do that in the kingdom?
Yes.
It's How did you have that? You had
That's
somebody.
the other
Yeah,
you
that's
can go
outer
to the other
darkness.
office and do that
And
all you
go
want.
do that. Well,
Yeah.
how was Joram getting around that? There was a portion in the first book that you had
Well,
Joram.
he got like a kickback. So he was, let's just say that he wanted to start a business making furniture. Okay.
Yes.
Joram would connect you up with whoever could help you to do that and got a fee for that.
Oh, he got a
Okay.
fee for helping
So
with connections. That's what you had him doing.
Yeah, instead of borrowing money. So he was right on the edge of usury, but yet really wasn't doing usury. He was,
Yeah, that was very smart of you to come up with that, where he was still allowed to stay in the kingdom at that point.
But I mean, a lot of people do that today. They're right on the edge. They're right on the edge, And he did that for a long time until it just got so bad that finally one day he had to go.
And he knew he was
And
getting
so he
kicked
went
out.
out there, and by that time now you couldn't send stuff from the kingdom out there. So if you gained wealth in the kingdom,
It had stayed.
the outer darkness, you couldn't send it out there. When you went out there, you went out there with clothes on your back.
Yes, but he was making deals out there, wasn't he?
He was cheating, is what he was doing, and somehow he was getting his assets transferred out there, so that when by the time he got kicked out, he was very, very wealthy.
Yeah, he was making
So-
his connections out there. I
Yeah.
believe he had him making his
Yeah,
connections.
he was.
And then he became, somebody special out there. But you'll have to read the book. I thought that was
Yeah.
very ingenious the way the way you figured that one out, or God gave it to
he
you.
was just playing a nasty piece of work. There's no getting around it. He really was. He really was.
Yeah.
And
but,
his
I
brother,
mean,
yeah.
his brother his brother was a piece of work, but he didn't last very long.
No, he didn't. He didn't. Hiram took care of him by accident. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And most people in the kingdom, they don't murder anybody, but accidents do happen. He
no.
lost his,
Yeah. And so if you ask, like, how did we get this form for the millennial kingdom? Well, it's the form within the scriptures. It's within the Bible. It's just, I don't think when we read it, we really think about the impact of living the way it's described within Torah, within the law, of what is instructed within the Bible, and actually putting that to practice and living it.
You and I agreed that the millennial reign wasn't full of perfect people.
No.
Okay. So there had to be a way to include everybody in that. But it was definitely separated because you didn't have to live in the outer darkness. You could get saved, and then a repliveer would come out and get you and take you in, or maybe you would want to stay out there so that you could convert your relatives,
Yeah, which is what Lila did. And so it's about building the world the way the Bible describes the world, how we should live. And with Jesus in charge, there would not be any misunderstandings or somebody penalized or punished wrongly, because obviously Jesus knows everything. So that
Right.
would not be a factor. And complete justice for the crime would be enacted. So that's,
Now we did have in volume 2, we did have a prodigal son. His name was Sam, and he was raised in the millennial kingdom and had pretty much everything, didn't he? He had he had everything. But what did he do?
He walked away from his wife, and how many children did he have?
I think he had 5.
Five children, and he walked away.
What lured him to the outer darkness? What lured him out there?
It was being somebody, they were propping him up as some sort of leader.
He was related to a lot of the big church leaders, and they told him, if you want to come out here, we'll put you. You can be a cardinal. We'll put you in red robe. Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. He went out there. Well, what happened to him when he got out there?
He realized that he made a huge mistake, and that he wanted to be this benevolent leader, and instead he was seeing the harm and the atrocities that were being enacted under that leadership.
Yeah, and I think he was surprised by the evil in himself, because he was not happy with himself at all because of his committing these sins every day. He couldn't stand himself. He couldn't stand himself.
Yeah, and this is a picture of the church today. Masses of people prop up these leaders and these pastors as something grand, as something benevolent, as something, they're leading in the word of God. And really, you see the fruit of the greed of the people at the top serving. It's like the institutions foster that greed and that selfishness for being somebody and
Mhm.
being looked at as being benevolent. And a lot of these, even in small churches, small institutions, you see somebody prop up there who has good meaning, wants to serve God, wants to do the right thing. And then the longer time goes on, the more corruption there is,
Yeah.
because the system fosters the human greed within us.
Well, the
And we are not-
temptation is there. The temptation is there, to drive a really nice car, have everybody respect you, and then you get to the point where I've seen this happen, where it's very hard to tell the truth. And you even trick yourself. I mean, these people believe themselves. They believe their own life. Yeah, they
They're
do.
good.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, it's
that-
free will. It's free will at work. And I've
Yeah.
come to appreciate that system of free will that I never did even a few years ago, because I never really thought it through. What does it mean to be the creator and create all of these beings with free will? Well, you're going to have a lot of them go bad, because the temptation's going to just be too much for them. They're not going to rely on their creator. That's just the bottom line. So he sent his son, and his son came here and showed what it was like to live that way, to live on the good side, and then to die, which was preordained that he had to die, because he died for our sins, and sometimes I picture him carrying that cross up the hill. Okay, that baby was heavy. He had the sins of the world on his shoulders. Okay, then to die and then to be resurrected and show everybody, you think that death is the end. Oh no, it's not the end. Something else is going to happen. And if you rely on me, I've gone to prepare a place for you. And I have to believe that he's doing that. He's preparing a place for me.
Yeah. And his whole ministry was based on showing a different structure. The structure of humility, the structure
Yes.
of service. He washed the feet of his disciples. The last shall be first, the first shall be last. These were all things that he taught all throughout his ministry, because it was in opposition to the systems that the people knew, the systems of what we're calling the outer darkness, because it is darkness. It's the darkness of that structure that Hasatan knows is damaging and it kills us. We are not meant to be propped up in that way. We are not meant to be worshipped in and adored in the way that the systems have that structure.
Something that I've noticed as I've gotten older is that you can have everything. You can either have it here, or you can put it off a little bit and have it later. Okay, do the right thing. Live the very best life that you can live in Christ, and that's what's waiting for you. That is eternal life with Christ. To be totally fulfilled every day, you would be totally happy every day. So you've got a choice. You can, because the people that have it here generally aren't going to make the right decision at the end.
Well, and we have a focus. It's all material focused. Everybody focuses on the material, whether it's out of greed or whether it's out of fear, and
Right.
that has not changed. It's all through time. I tell you, Hasatan is very crafty, and he knows our nature very well.
Yeah.
And that
He
is
knows us
why.
better than we know ourselves.
Yeah,
Because we spend most of our life avoiding getting to know ourselves. Why do we do that? Yeah, we don't want it. We're avoiding. I didn't used to like to be alone. I didn't used to like to have quiet and serenity around me. I had to have noise. I had to have a TV on. I had to have music on. I had to have confusion
Distraction.
and chaos. Yeah, that was how my mind was.
Yeah.
But as time has gone on and the closer that I've gotten to my creator, the more I enjoy that, that quietness. I enjoy that because I can
Yeah.
use that for prayer. I can got an extra minute, let's pray. And there's always somebody around that needs to be prayed for.
Yeah, and I think
Right?
that's the aim too, because if we don't have any time to get quiet before our creator, we don't connect. And that is his aim, to keep us unconnected, to keep
Yes.
us striving for all the things that are right in front of us, the visual, what we can see, hear, taste, smell, keep us in the material, keep us in the physical. That way we don't impact spiritually anything or anyone, including ourselves, within
Right.
the systems that he has. And that's why I wanted to focus on the systems, because that is what keeps us, from reaching
Well, that
our
is truly the outer darkness. That is truly the outer darkness. Is that? Yeah.
yeah,
The
and it's
and
what we're living.
what we compare it to today is the inner light. It's light and it's inner. Okay. So what
That's our
the
connection
word
to
that
creator.
we created in the book is it's just more obvious to people.
Yeah, we're giving a perspective of these people in the millennial kingdom who live under Christ's perfect, kingdom, as far as the setup, not the people, but Christ's perfection, living under that, the true benevolence, and how they see the chaos of the human and systems, and how they
Yes.
view that. Like, they could not understand the orphanage system. Like, they could not understand a children being raised under that kind of situation without family.
Well,
It's
because they saw a
unthinkable.
stray child. I mean, you could look at when
They took
when
them
the
in.
when
A
the
family
airship
takes them in.
and Abby's out there in the wilderness, and this
Yeah.
little girl comes along. Remember Clara? She came along. She was 4 years old, and she was just she wandered into town, and these two little boys were always making fun of her, and she was begging for food all the time, and she came in with a peddler, and then he died, and so she had nobody. She was 4 years old out there wandering around, and of course Abby fell in love with her immediately, and they took her. They looked for her family, couldn't find anybody, so they adopted her, and
And
she
that's
was there.
but that's the character of Christ within them. Like, they knew because they were living it. And I think
Yes.
it's a disconnect. We live in the outer darkness. We have to change our minds thinking into kingdom thinking, which is what Jesus taught, and how we treat one another, and how to make that second nature.
Yeah.
We had in the book, like, Abigail didn't even think twice, because it was second nature. This is what we do. We
Yeah.
don't let someone go hungry. We don't let a child not have someone take care of
Well, and
them.
she was right in the middle of a horrible situation because her own daughter had just died and her daughter was pregnant. It was just so sad. And then here comes this little girl, and she just fell in love with her.
Doesn't
So I mean,
even
it was
think, just takes her in.
yeah,
Yeah.
she was a gift from God to help her get through that really hard time, And she looked at it like that. She saw it like in that way.
Right. But that's a totally different way. How many people in living in this reality would take on a child when her daughter just
Well,
died?
and then you've got all these institutions that want to prevent you from doing that. You can't just
Yeah.
go out and find a 4-year-old child
No.
that's wandering around hungry and dirty
Costs
and take them in.
thousands of
Oh my
dollars.
gosh, you got to turn them over to DCFS because
Yeah, it's
they need to be in an
thousands of
institution
dollars
and they
to
go to a
adopt.
foster home.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't be with
Yeah.
somebody that finds them and loves them. that would be crazy.
Yeah,
I know.
I have in the homeschooling community, I've several friends who have gone the adoption route, and most of the time you have to foster the child first, and then
Yeah.
you risk losing the child because they've got systems in place. It's a mess. It's a nightmare to go through, and it's very expensive. You have to have money to do it.
Kids too. They're usually, by the time you get them, that they've gone through that system, they're so damaged. It's hard
Yeah.
to correct that. You want to give them love, and
Yeah.
they want to kill you because they're scared. They've
Because
been
they have
abused.
so much damage. There's so much damage by the time they get there. It takes a lot of counseling, a lot of love, a lot of prayer,
Yeah.
lot of prayer, and it affects the rest of the entire family. So if you've got kids of
Yeah.
your own,
Yeah.
it affects those children too, because you've
So
got this child
they make it
with this trauma.
impossible. They really make it impossible just to take a child in and love them. They make that. They stand in the way.
Cool.
They interfere all of the time
Yeah.
for what should be a natural thing. That you got a child
Yes.
that needs love and attention, and you've got an
You take
adult
them in.
that wants to give it. And there's this thing that's in the middle. Yeah, it's an evil
Yeah.
thing that's in the middle.
And
Yeah.
there's a thing that's in the middle of everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
It is. It truly is. And when you think about it that way, you think, why is it like that? Okay. Well, it's like that because of Satan, in my opinion. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Most people today still think those systems are benevolent in some way. Well, we have them so that there's an order in adopting and an order
Well,
in this, but
yeah.
the
Well,
systems
we've
are
got
broken.
we've got good people that go into those systems because they really believe that if I can just get in there, I can help some children. Or because they're going to stand in your way. If you are truly a loving person and you just want to do good, they're going to do everything they can to detour you so that you can't actually do that.
Can't
You want to
actually
be
do
a teacher,
anything.
they're going to stand in your way so that you can't teach. And I
Yeah.
experienced that myself. Yeah. Why should they let you actually teach? It's like that in everything, which is so frustrating. I said, how about nursing? You got somebody that really has a lot to give and would be a very dedicated nurse, but they get in there and everything's so perverted, they can't really function. So,
Yeah, I got that. I was a CNA years, and I came up against that quite a bit where you were pushed. You had so much time to do this, to take care of a patient, and then you had to move on to the next one. And
Yeah.
what they really needed was just somebody to listen to them, someone to consider them as something other than just the next one to get to. And I
Yes.
would want to spend that time, and constantly as a young 21, 22-year-old woman, I was getting in trouble because I was spending too much time considering them, and I had to learn the balance. It was very difficult. It was very difficult.
You've got paperwork to do. You've got paperwork to do.
You got to clean that room. You got to get them on the toilet. You got to get them cleaned up, get the clothes on, and then move on to the next person. And that leaves them feeling very
well, and
dehumanized.
you're only servicing the material world. You're not seeing to
servicing
spiritual.
their
The spiritual
meeting
just
their
has
soul.
nothing to do with anything.
Yeah.
And this is how they keep us locked. They keep us locked in the material world. Yeah, people don't even realize they're locked.
Move on to the next thing. We suffice that material need. Let's move on to the next one. Move on to the next one. And then no one's spiritual need is met. And then we wonder why so many people are on drugs and alcoholics, because they're trying to feed that spiritual need somehow.
And
that's
then
not
they
being
do. A lot of them go to church then, and they think that's the thing to do if they want spirituality.
But what are they getting there? They're getting the music.
Yes.
the grand preaching, it's still all material. It's still all
Yeah.
visual, what you hear, the sophisticated speaking. Oh, wasn't that so great? It appealed to the senses. That was
Yeah.
a material connection, not truly a spiritual one. And so we're
Yes.
lacking that in the institution of the church as well. Having that spiritual connection one with another to our
Well, I
Creator.
mean, people believe that they're going to find what they need there, and it's such a disappointment. I mean, I don't,
Yeah.
I haven't looked in that direction for many, many years. What I look for is quality relationships in my own life, and maybe somebody that thinks a little bit like I do. Not exactly, or that would be boring, but that's how you and I are. I can
Yeah.
tell you I could tell you some crazy offbeat idea. And instead of going, you're nuts, you would say, I'm going to have to think about that. Maybe pray about that. Yeah. Yeah. Because we are both curious and we want to keep growing, and so this is
Not just
writing this
dismiss
part.
each other right
Yeah.
away.
How we're
Yeah.
writing this. Yeah, so I'm going to be really excited to see Volume 2 come out. And Volume 1, the revisions in Volume 1, because we did have problems.
We have exciting news there.
Yeah,
We
okay, well, you announce it. Go ahead, announce it.
we just heard from our publisher, and she gave us 2 versions of the revision. And we have decided on one, and it is beautiful. The font is bigger all around. It's going to be really sharp and easy to read, but also the design is beautiful. We're really happy with it, and I have to send that email right after this conversation,
Yeah.
actually.
Well, I mean,
To
and
let her know.
we still got the family album in the back. We've
Yes.
still got the family tree. So if you get confused, because there's a lot of characters, you can go to the back in alphabetical order and you can look up that character that you forgot who they were. You know, I know because I love to read fiction. And if you've got something over a span of 1,000 years, you're going to have a lot of characters.
Yeah.
And the first 2 volumes are the entire millennium. The third volume is going to be immediately after when Satan is released. And it's couples that are up in an airship recording what's going on the ground. And it's pretty exciting. Okay.
Yeah.
But that is the whole millennial reign has to be in these 2 volumes. So, of course, you're going to need some kind of a list of characters that you can refer to.
So,
I get confused.
so we've decided on the design. Jennifer did an amazing job. She really got, I think, what we had wanted this time in revamping it and in the revise. And so that should actually be coming out really soon.
Where can people get that, Meredith?
The revision, Shelves of Shalom is where it's sold. Once the revisions get through, now it has to go through the process of getting, on the platform. I believe Jennifer's gonna.
You might still, if you order from Amazon, you might still be getting the old version.
Yeah,
so I would
wait.
Go to the Shelves of Shalom because they're going to have that new version.
Yeah, they're going to have it first.
It's a lot easier to read.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot easier to read. I know Jennifer's going to send us a hard copy first so that we can really look through it and examine it. And then we're going to go forward with it. And then the next thing is volume 2 is done. We're going to send that to her, and she's going to use the same format. So all that editing is pretty much already done. And that should be coming out later this year, probably by the fall, I would say.
I think it will.
I think it will. So be looking for that. We're really excited. She got back to us really quick on that, and so we're really excited.
So when we can get together again, you have a very rough schedule compared to me, but still when we can get together again and make this technology work, we're going to do this again, and we'll continue to have a discussion. I don't know what we'll talk about next time.
Yeah, we
Maybe
talked about
about
institutions
actual Out
today.
of Darkness in the book. Okay, how
I-
it was
maybe-
in the
In the book. Yeah, we could focus on what was going on in the book with the institutions, or we could talk about
I was prepared for that today to go actually
what?
into manuscript and see, well, how was it mentioned? How was it brought up? What was it like?
Well,
What was it
do you
like
have-
to live?
Did you have
Yeah.
some passages you wanted to read? You have it in
Not
front
now
of you?
because we've gone. What have we gone? Almost an hour. So yeah, for next time, I haven't
Okay.
chosen. Yeah,
Oh,
and we can even go into volume 2 because there's a
Okay.
lot of pretty exciting stuff. Now I know we did that with Noel. Was to the
we
unexpected.
did a little bit with Noel.
Yeah. So if you go to either Not the Lie Eternal, which is your
Under my
YouTube channel,
Playlists. It's under my playlists.
or Mary Lou Bouchard, either one, go to our playlist and you can see that, or you can go to the Unexpected Cosmology and look for it there.
Yeah, I
Look
think
for
they
our-
probably find it easier on your channel or my channel because it's right under
Yeah.
playlist and
Yeah.
it pops right up, and we give an excerpt from volume 2 there. But
Yeah,
I
we
think that's a
actually
good
did
idea.
a reading. We did
Yeah.
a reading on it, so that was kind of fun. Yeah.
Okay, so
That
why
again.
don't we're gonna do some reading from the books next time.
We might do that. We might do that next time.
Okay,
So anyway,
sounds like a plan.
shall we say
I like
adieu?
Adieu.
I'm very, very,
was
very
fun.
happy that we got one. So now I have to figure out how to turn this thing off.
Yeah, you
And
seem
you're-
to have
you're
to figure
no
that
you.
out.
You have all these suggestions for me, but you don't tell me the right button to push.
What?
So
Well, you could push the X at the top of the screen. Is there an X?
yes.
Well, when you push that, we are going to go. So let's say goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye bye, everybody. In
Sounds
stream.